Hi, my name is Jerry. I built this blacksmith shop you see here behind me. It took me about 2 years. I did it in my spare time, nights and weekends, and I thought you might be interested to see what I've been up to for the last couple of years. Come on right this way and we'll take a look at it. This is a shop. I tried to stick to the 1800s era, make it as authentic as possible. We'll head over to the heart of the shop, which would be the forge. If you come right over this way here, you can see the forge and the chimney. This is a homemade chimney. I used stones out of my own property here to build this. It has a fire brick lining on the inside. We have a damper here which will open and shut the flue to the chimney. It's spring loaded. I built all this here. And as you look down here, you can see this is where the coal goes and the fire is down in this little pit here, and the smoke goes up the chimney. And I've also incorporated a couple doors here, so in the winter time, if I'm working in the shop and not forging, it won't suck my heat up the chimney, which it does quite rapidly actually. And if you look down here, these are some of the tools that I built for the shop, for the forge here. We have some pokers, I have a shovel, I have a hoe here that you can hoe the stuff around, pull it to a jew and whatnot there, and a little rake which will separate the coke, which the coal makes fine. And we also have a little homemade dipper here. As you can see, it has some holes in the bottom of it, which you dip water. You have to keep your coal somewhat wet when you're forging. This is a quinch bucket here. If you look down inside, you can see there's water down in there, and that's why this is where I get the water from my forge. As you can see, it water comes out of the bottom of my little cup there to wet my coal. This is where you will quench hot material that comes out of the fire. Also, if you look down here, this is, let me scooch right down here. I'll show you the workings underneath this. This is a pot which catches the ashes. If you look, I got this little ball here which holds the plate up. We pick this up, as you see, ashes falls out of here that collects in here during the forging process. Also, some interesting tools is this here swage block, which can be tipped up sideways or stand up straight, or use it as it is for bending and forging hot work on it. Really handy, really heavy. That probably weighs a good 125, 130 pounds. Also, we have here a blacksmith cone, which is made for truing up rings such as this. You forge weld those and then heat them up cherry red, and you drop them down over here and you hammer around the radius of that ring, truing it up, making it as close to round as possible. Also, over here we have a well that I incorporated into the shop here, so I have running water down here. It's antique. As you can see, pump the well water here. A little drain that goes outside. It's really nice to have running water in the shop, but no electricity. Sticking to the true air. We get our water source from a hand dug well, which is underneath this cover here. We pick this right up, and if you look down the side, I get a little cement cover so no little creatures can get down in there and whatnot. But that's about 20 feet deep and 4 feet around. Plenty of water for the shop. Also over here is an old antique parlor stove, which I heat my shop with. A really nice old piece. As you can see, I got the bricks around the back of it to keep the walls from getting hot, and also the chimney pipe goes up to the forge chimney, which heats it. And let me see what else we got here. On this wall is some tools for melting metal. With the pot here will go onto the forge, and you heat that up, and you got dippers and whatnot. You can pull it and pour it and all that kind of stuff. All right, over here is a few things that I've made, which might interest you a little bit. We have some barn hinges. As Some nice size ones. They'll hold up a pretty good sized door. I've been playing around with little floral work. You can see I made my wife a little rose here that she likes, and those are fun to make. Time consuming but fun. And a couple little handles, nice little rustic handles. Also, to continue with flower work, we have that's a cata lily flower with a little bud or seed pod in the center of it. So you can see, this is like a trumpet flower. And also we have some leaf work here. You can see some of the leaves and stuff like that you make to go, and these make nice accent pieces for lanterns, gates, and whatever you want to use them for. This is a little tool that I made here. This is made to put your leaves in, and you can round them and make a more natural shape than just flat, which would come off the metal. Also on this wall up here, you see I have some Pextol tools. These things actually go in the anvil and the Hardy tool, made for bending and shaping thin metal, heavy metals, whichever you come up with an idea to work with. And they're great help in the shop for bending up odd stuff. Alright, coming over here, I have a smaller anvil and another swage block here. This is probably a 180-pound anvil. Smaller ones. This is a little tool that I made for rounding metals on this little piece here, and this is for putting shoulders and whatnot on there, and you can put it through and hit it. This is done with all hot work inside here, and also a little cut-off tool for the Hardy hole in there. See, this is actually in the Hardy hole. Okay, over here is another anvil. It's a little larger than the last one. This is probably about a 630-pound anvil. This come out of Michigan. I have a couple tools that I made down here to go in the Hardy hole. This is a guillotine tool, which does about the same as the other one here. This has a plate that picks up and down, and you put your metal in there, and you can make little ridges and grooves in it and stuff, which works really well. And this is a bending tool down here that I stick the metal in and make scroll work and whatnot. This I also made. Works kind of nice. This is a foot pedal device that I come up with here. You push down on this foot pedal, and I stick metal underneath here, and it holds it in place so that I have two free hands to hold the hammer and the chisel and chop and cut. A really helpful tool. It's almost like having a third arm. So, and coming over here, I'll show you some of the. This is a hammer rack that I made for all my hammers. I used to have them hanging on the wall. I have a nice variety of hammers. I've made some hot chisels for doing hot work. This is a punch. It's actually, you can hang right onto it. Made nice little handles. That's a hot punch there. This is also another hot punch. This is for doing punching square holes in hot metal for like carriage bolts and whatnot. You can hold that with that. This is a hot chisel. You actually cut hot metal with this chisel here. You hold it down there and give it a few whacks with a hammer, and it usually cuts through it. These are some tongs that I made here. We got a nice flat set of tongs. This holds the square metal, and this holds round metal here, and of course I've got clippers, and also a nice cold chisel which cuts cold metal there. Kind of skipped a little bit. The air source for the forge is this bellows. This is bellows that have different chambers inside which pumps air. It's wrapped in leather. That's what causes it to hold the air. And you have little diaphragms up in this little hole here that open and shut to allow the air to come. I'll demonstrate here on this ring. This is what actually holds. As you can see, and probably here, it is pumping lots of air into my forge. Now the second air source I have in my forge is this Champion 400 blower. This thing works really well. It's piped right into the forge along with the bellows tubing going in, and you crank this and This also gives you nice air into the forge for welding. This gets the forge up to temperature, welding temperature, a lot faster than the bellows. The bellows will do it, but it takes a lot more pulling on the rope. So I bought this, and it's really proven to be a really handy tool. Here on the wall we have a bulletin board that I put up. I've been ordering some little ads and stuff off the American Blacksmith. Nice little pictures of the different tools that they use in here in the 1800s, 1900s. Kind of nice accent for the shop. It's nice to look at, and people really enjoy coming in and asking questions about it. Over here I have some fireplace poker sets that I've made. Kind of elaborate. This has got a lot of pieces to it. I got a little pot that I hooked on here, which will eventually be for an ash pan. We have a lid lifter that you picked up the lids on the old-fashioned wood stoves, all handmade. We got the shovel, the poker, the hoe, and we'll get that. And over here is another one I made for my shop, which has the 3 tools on it for my stove that we looked at earlier, which is kind of nice for the shop. Also up here we have a gas forge, which is obviously more modern. Haven't even used it yet. I've had it for 6 months, and I've been trying to master the coal forge over there first before I jump into the gas forge. This production-wise, this will speed up everything in the shop because you're not waiting around to heat it up in a coal forge. It will be done in a gas forge. I'll probably stick mostly to my coal forge because it seems it's really relaxing and a lot of fun to use a coal forge because that's what they did back in the early 1900s. I guess now what we're going to do is we're going to take a walk up and look at some cannons that I've built. It's my passion in the last few years, to build some Civil War field cannons, and I thought you might be interested to see some of the hardware and stuff that I made on those. So we'll take a walk across the yard and take a look at that. Okay, this is the first cannon that I built. I built this out of a picture out of an old Civil War book. This is built out of 6-inch mechanical tubing, which is 6 inches around, with a 2-inch bore down the center, which gives you a nice thick wall. And I added onto the breech to enlarge it and strengthen it, and added rings and enlarged the muzzle to give it the effect that it's actually been cast. It hasn't been. This is modern steel, very strong, stronger than the old cast iron cannons. I did all the hardware work on it, did the woodworking on it. This shoots about 8 ounces of black powder and shoots a 2-inch ball. And over here I got a mortar, which I did not build this barrel. This barrel I ended up buying. I built a carriage for it. This shoots also a 2-inch ball. It shoots 4 ounces of powder. The way it's so short, this has a really big ball of fire that comes out at the end of it. A really showstopper, really. But my biggest cannon that I built from Dixie Gunwork blueprint from the Civil War. Is a Napoleon cannon. If you want to take a walk over here, we'll take a look at the second cannon that I built. This was about eight months in the making, part-time, but it really proved out nice. It's really authentic. All the parts are done right off a blueprint, measured and hammered out. Before I had my blacksmith shop. When you come around this way here, I think you can see the hardware really well, with the light shining on it somewhat. A lot of metal work gone into it. As you can see, you have the chains. All these bolts go through the whole carriage and stuff. You got little pins that go in to hold these in place. Once you loosen the bolts, these pins pop out. This cap will come off, and you're able to change the barrels around if necessary. We have the holders for all the tool implements and stuff, so that the tools go in there, which are in the garage and not on here, because I just brought these out this spring. Haven't put that stuff on there yet. This barrel is 895-pound barrel. come out of Kentucky. I ordered that. I made this one. I ordered this one. And as you can see, this has an adjusting screw which will lower and raise the cannon. You can just do it with 2 fingers. Works really easy. So I'm lifting a 890 some odd pound cannon with just 2 fingers. And that's about it. If you're glad you enjoyed the video, hope you did anyways. And if you got any comments, leave them, and I'd be really interested to see what you think of everything that I've done. Thanks.